We're talking cozy settings coming up right after this. Hi, I'm Alan Smith. Welcome to The Garden Home, a show about design and blurring the lines between inside and out. Now, I've got a great show in store for you today. It's all about cozy places, places that make us feel warm and invited. You know, that's what's so important about this town. It's Natchez, Mississippi. It's charming, and the people here are so hospitable. In fact, we're going to spend some time here at Twin Oaks, a wonderful bed and breakfast that's owned by a dear friend of mine. Also in today's show, we'll tour one of the most stylish and comfortable historic homes in Natchez that's recently been restored with its original architectural detail. Then I want to show you a great way to cozy up to a fireplace for cold nights and how to enjoy your back porch on warm summer days. Plus, we'll walk through a few simple tips that you can do to make your house guests feel more comfortable. Well, as you can see, we've got a lot of great stuff to cover in today's show. So why don't we get started and go find Regina. You know, Regina, it's amazing to me to be able to come to Natchez in the middle of winter and see all these things blooming.
What's wonderful about Christmas in Natchez that I have narcissus right out of my garden to decorate for Christmas.
And I love Twin Oaks. It's such a handsome Greek Revival house.
Oh, thank you.
Was it built in the 1830s?
1832, originally by Pierce and Cornelia Connolly. And then it had several owners, but typically an owner stays here 60 years. I hope we'll be as lucky.
Now, how long have you been operating a bed and breakfast out of Twin Oaks?
Almost 10 years now.
Really?
Yes,
has it been that long?
It has. It's hard to believe. Do you remember you walked around the grounds with me before I bought it? Because I was overwhelmed whether I should take this on.
Well, I mean, you've just done a beautiful job. It's maturing
thank you.
Beautifully. Yeah.
So, well, you've had a nice hand in that.
You know, I love what you've done both outside and inside, and particularly with what you've done with the kitchen.
Well, since it's starting to drizzle, which comes in December as well, let's go have a cup of tea in the kitchen.
Oh, that'd be great, yeah. You know, this kitchen is certainly a working kitchen, and it's absolutely charming.
Well, you know, it's funny because although we're a bed and breakfast, I don't do breakfast. I tease that we're a bed and whatever, but I do cooking class weekends, which I really enjoy. But I'm much more of a dinner cook than a breakfast cook.
Now, how many rooms do you have? I know the original cottage is here, but I don't recall the number of rooms.
6 guest rooms, yeah. And they're all decorated individually with antique beds, but queen beds.
I certainly have my favorite.
Oh, you do?
Number 6.
Number 6, the camellia room. That bed is so pretty in there.
It is
It's
indeed.
a cozy
and
room.
Comfortable. Well, I love what you've done in the rooms, and I know that decorating here and restoration here is kind of an ongoing process, but the front 2 parlors are coming together beautifully.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've chosen to use color. It's what I like. Again, I think it's just a mixture of some antiques and also some practical, comfortable pieces of furniture. I never feel I have enough seating. It's something I'm constantly working on because I love to be able to sit in a room with 12 or 15 people and everybody can be together in conversation.
What you've done here at Twin Oaks, it does feel like a family home. People have to respond to that and they must enjoy it.
Well, you know, one of the things that is interesting that I think people are always drawn to is my personal history. There are photographs of my family members and my boys but also the history of my restaurants in San Francisco and in the gallery where I have all of the actors' sketches from opening night parties.
Right.
And I find that people always gravitate towards that.
You know, Regina, I just love the way the natural light floods into this room. I guess this is the largest room in the house.
It is.
Well, it's so beautiful. The table is the right proportion, and this punka, I mean, what a coup to have such a late 18th century punka.
It is 1790s from a beautiful home called Propinquity. It was in that home from the 1790s until they gave it to me, so it's very special.
You are a lucky girl.
To me. I am.
Well, they're so unique, and you know, the function of them in these houses, I mean, they were really used. The whole idea was that you pulled this rope and it caused the punka to swing back and forth, stirring the breeze, and kept mosquitoes or insects off the food. And the
there's
guests.
several in homes in Natchez.
It's a great pleasure to be back at Twin Oaks. Well, I love the hospitality and your cooking.
Oh, well, you're one of my favorite people. You know that.
Thanks for having me. You know, I think the way you've got the roof now secured, Regina, it looks like it's going to work. How long did it take them to get the shingles on and get the little cupola fixed?
Well, it took about 6 months just to find the old slate,
right,
and then having the copper cupola, we completely rebuilt that.
I see.
So at least the top is now secure.
Sure. And these stained glass windows are really, really handsome, but I wonder if you took those and moved them to either end.
Well, I like that idea because you would really see them coming down either side, the pretty staircases.
Yes, and do away with that lattice. And if you use clear glass on the front, that would flood the interior with natural light, which would make it more usable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why it's just an unfinished space, and I really would like to be able to utilize it.
Of course, a tree like a magnolia that can get so large, it's going to tear up the brickwork, and it's already started to.
It has, and I've learned that trees and brickwork do not mix well.
Once you get the brickwork repaired and the pool repaired, I'm kind of thinking that these graveled areas, and I know you put that down just to keep the weeds from growing, you know, that might be nice just to use with roses. What you could also do is border these 4 parterres in boxwood, and then keep these 2 center beds here and here, get the soil right, and let that be your herb garden.
I like that idea.
You know, Regina, this is such a feature for Twin Oaks. When you look down upon this space, you really do see the design. It's very interesting. I think it's worth investing some time in and resources in.
Well, I feel like it's going to be a good project, worth doing. Thank you for giving me another project to do.
Well,
might have to get you here to help me,
well,
but yes.
I can jump in and help for sure. But no, I really think it'll be outstanding, and it'll be good. Yeah. Now that we've indulged in Regina's warm southern hospitality, let me show you something you can do with friends and family in front of a fireplace on those chilly evenings. Do you have rooms in your house that you really feel like are like the coziest room in the whole place? You know, this room for me is one of the most comfortable rooms I have. And even though I love it in all seasons, I have to say during the cold months, it's particularly cozy, especially if I can have a fire in the fireplace. It just radiates so much warmth. And with this being a Rumford fireplace, it's one of the most efficient wood-burning fireplaces you can have. You see, the design really hasn't changed for almost 200 years. Now let's dispense with a history lesson for just a moment and sort of talk about what brings this room together from a color standpoint. You see I have a braided rug on the floor that has gold and brown and blue in it. That's the fabric, if you will, or the colorways that I chose to springboard from for all the accessories and furnishings in the room. There are two large sofas framing the room, and you see they almost create an enclosure or an envelope here that make this space even more cozy. In the center, I have a stool that can serve both as a coffee table or as a place for people to sit or play games. Now, if we go back to color and take a little closer look at it, you can see that the majority of this room is made up of neutrals: cream, brown, and gray. And to pick up the red color of the brick, I've used some throw pillows that have some terracottas, reds, and burnt oranges in them. The mantle here is really very simple. It's just a large beam that we put up here to serve as a shelf. And above it I have a John Audubon print, very large, sort of overscaled for the space, which I think is really good. And then I don't have a symmetrical arrangement on this mantle. What I have is an arrangement that's balanced. Here I have two twig trees, but then over here I have 3 lighted candles. The composition is balanced. You see, it doesn't necessarily need to be symmetrical to be balanced. All right, now let's talk about some of the refreshments I have here. And I wish you could smell the aroma of this hot chocolate wafting up. It's really incredible. And here, this is really a fun setup. This is all about making s'mores. Now, who doesn't love s'mores? What I've done here is I've taken a piece of butcher block as the base to sit on this coffee table. On this butcher block, I have the plates with all of the requisite ingredients for delicious s'mores in the way of graham crackers, chocolate, and of course, large marshmallows. There's some napkins there, as well as some bamboo skewers, and the source of heat. I have this basket with some cooking fuel in the center, all stabilized by these beautiful rocks. This is a great idea if you're having friends over for a party, or if you have children but you don't want to get near the fire, or maybe it's too wet or cold outside and you can't do s'mores there. You can set up this, and it's a safe way to have a delicious treat. All you do to make s'mores is you just want to toast your marshmallow like this. Some people love them charred black, but not me. I like a golden brown marshmallow. And I just rotate it the same distance over the fire like this. The key to a great s'more, as far as I'm concerned, is you want to get that marshmallow as gooey as possible and as hot as possible without burning it. It's the heat of the marshmallow that will actually melt the chocolate. And when the chocolate melts with the gooey marshmallow, with the graham cracker, and then you take the other graham cracker and you make a little sandwich, just a little bit of gentle pressure, that is a thing of beauty. Hey, if you want to step back into your childhood and have a little fun, set up a s'more station the next time you have a party. Messy, but really good. You know, I just love garden design, and I love it when you send me pictures of your home where you're looking for ideas, just some creative inspiration. And today we've got a wonderful house in Louisiana from Lisa. Now, Lisa has some issues to deal with. She's got a couple of, well, what I call retina irritants here and here, these electrical necessities. They're eyesores, in other words. So we need to come up with a way to hide those. She loves old-fashioned plants. She gave me a whole list of things like crepe myrtles. She loves hydrangeas. She loves azaleas. All those southern things that work so well in a house in Louisiana. Now, this is a problem, and what I'm going to suggest here is a pretty radical idea. You know, Lisa, one thing that you could do is create a bed that basically comes around like this, and this whole area becomes a garden. I know that's a lot of landscape, but you could bring the flower bed around here and then across the front and out and down like this, all right? And in here, we could then plant a tree, a flowering tree. What if we came in here with a crepe myrtle here, and we came back here and did another crepe myrtle here, and another crepe myrtle here. So we did a grove of them almost. Maybe even another one over there. So you've got this grove of crepe myrtles. They're going to have a pale pink bloom on it all across the front. Or you'd be able to look in between these. You'd have the trunks that would come up. And then you would come in with another layer of shrubs in here. It may be too hot for azaleas. I don't think so if you started with some large crepe myrtles. Then if you came in here with azaleas, it would begin to screen this, and a big mound of those all up under the crepe myrtle. So you create the spine of azalea bloom in here like this, all right? And we would want to repeat that over here if we could, in the way of maybe some more azaleas here on this side. And what I would suggest is a Camellia sasanqua here at the back. Those are such good value. It's a fall blooming camellia, and I would use one on the end here. They're evergreen. I would use one here, one here, one here on either side. So you see how this is sort of coming together. Now, you said you like evergreen plants that bloom pink. What I would consider here would be Raphaelepsis or Indian hawthorn all along here and under the windows. And there's a dwarf Indian hawthorn that I think you could plant along this edge. It's hard for me to tell what you have along the sidewalk. It looks very narrow. If Indian hawthorn doesn't work, what you may have to do is just do a ground cover in here in the way of monkey grass or liriope, and you could grow on these walls, these panels of the wall, New Dawn roses here, New Dawn roses here, and create a trellis that would hide this box here and do a New Dawn rose there. And you could even carry that trellis over here and one over here on this side if you wanted to. Gives you a basic framework. I would want to balance the crepe myrtles by pulling maybe one big crepe myrtle over here in the lawn, like this, to sort of balance the house. I think the only thing we have to fill in across the front would be annual color here, or if you wanted to go with a ground cover like Asian jasmine, this could all be ground cover to keep it really simple, or you could add color here. This is a wonderful area here for you to drop in color, but what I would do is have maybe some boxwood just right at the edge of the walkway that gives you kind of a backdrop like this, and then have your annual color right here in the front. Yep. So that gives you some of the plants that you were looking for. Hope these ideas stimulate some creativity for you, and good luck with your project. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I tell you, when you get a chance and you can get out and travel and find places that make you feel warm and invited, like this place. Until next time, from the Garden Home, I'm Alan Smith. When I have guests come visit, I like to make the rooms in the house have a little special quality to them, a little added touch, like some fresh flowers, or if I happen to know that they like a particular author, just place that book by the bedside. You know, it's just nice to make people feel comfortable and welcome. Now, another thing that I've done is added just some refreshments, a pitcher of water with some lemon, some fruit. And since these friends love fresh flowers, in fact, she loves fragrance, I cut some oriental lilies out of the garden and placed them on the night table on the other side of the bed. Now, there's some other things that I've done here that you really can't see. I made sure there was plenty of space in the closet for them, and I have a luggage rack set out for their convenience. And I've added a few things to the bathroom. You know, some essentials in the way of shampoo and conditioner, soap and so forth, and a hairdryer, because often people forget their hair dryers. So I think they're in pretty good stead. Now, with that said, I'd like to talk about this room and what I feel like makes it comfortable. Because when I designed it, I wanted to make sure that it was really sort of a haven. It's down here in the basement, so it's secluded, and just that gives it a really cozy feeling. There are 3 windows in this suite. There's a window in this bedroom, and there are 2 windows in the bathroom, which means these rooms get plenty of light, even though they're in the basement. But being in the basement really adds another quality. The soundproofing in here is really quite amazing. Guests who come here and stay, they love this suite because it's so quiet. To further create an ambience of tranquility, I tend to not like to use the light in the center of the ceiling, the overhead light. I like to use lamps, and when I can put those on dimmers, then it makes the room really nice. Now, the color of this room, I think, adds to the tranquility as well. Let's look at it. The walls are sort of a putty gray, a neutral, the trim is white. The rug on the brick floor, which is dark, is a wheaten color. Then we've added a little bit of color, not much, in the way of soft powder blues and just some accents of tomato red. You see, by using a simple color palette with not too many things going on, it brings harmony into the room. Hope some of these tips help you the next time you have guests. Well, there they are. I better get upstairs.